Okay, so we should be live here. Loading up my copy of the game or the application. I don't really like calling it a game. Um, we have a couple of questions from people who probably aren't going to make it. And then I will be taking live questions and kind of showing things off. This is the current version that you guys have. I'm doing some work on a newer version, or I'm constantly working on it. So, but if you look, let's bring this up. I am adding some stuff. You can see here there's a new venue editor thing. I haven't really got to it yet. Hi, Neil, Mark Bain, and Gerandis. Welcome. Um, but yeah, so I'm working on the venue editor stuff. Eventually, these two things will be semi decoupled from territory management. They'll still work in territory management. It'll add all of its stuff to here, but you'll be able to add um, promotions and venues to things that are not represented in territory management. So you'll be able to use these to add things to Champions of the Galaxy. So you can still go into the booking thing and you'll be able to select venues and all of that kind of stuff. So that is the goal. So champions won't have like the nice little territory overview here, with like this, the visual things where they can click on it and get hometown wrestlers and venues and whatever in the territory. That won't exist, but they will be able to use the Booker at an event thing and these select promotion and venue buttons to select their promotion and their venue and get an attendance and all of that kind of stuff. So they're not completely left out anymore. That's the goal for February. Surprisingly, that is actually a fairly large goal because of the way that I designed those systems. I have to rewrite a lot of stuff to allow for like custom territories and that kind of thing. So, yeah, but no biggie. I mean, it'll get done. The other thing I want to do in February is get the memory usage down. Again, let me show this. This is one of the things that I did it not realizing that it was going to completely abuse this. But if you look here, I am using 6.7 gigabytes of my visual memory just for this. It's not going to get your general memory down. I'm focusing specifically on the visual memory. To get the general memory down last time, I dumped everything over into the graphics memory. So when it loads up all your cards, it actually loads the images of them ahead of time, but then throws it onto your GPU, your graphics card, and that's not really good programming. Like, it was meant to be a temporary fix, and then I never got back to the temporary part, so I need to do that. So that's the February update. So not a whole lot of exciting stuff other than the promotion and venue editor coming in February. So I just want to temper expectations. Neil asks, is the app for computer or phone? This is for a PC, or a Mac, or a Linux computer. It is not for a phone. I do have a phone app, like a phone version of this, but it's not public. So if you're on a phone, you're out of luck. You got to have a laptop, a PC, something along those lines. Mark Bain says COTG doesn't need the map. That's kind of the way I feel about it. The map would be really hard with COTG because it encompasses like the entire universe, and there's nothing stopping Tom from, getting to a point where he's like, oh, I want to add this new region of the universe in. There's all these people from the Pillars of Creation now, which didn't exist before, and then suddenly your entire territory map is out of date and I need to update it. And so that was my biggest thing with champions. And I know that the chances of Tom just adding random areas of the universe is probably pretty slim at this point, but it's not impossible. And the fact that it's not impossible meant that I didn't really want to go there with this. So now you just kind of can throw the you just enter the data by hand. If you want a promotion in let's say on Titan or Saturn or whatever, you can just type it in and it'll be fine. Neil, an internet hookup? No, this is offline. It can use the internet. It has like you can go here to Mod.io, which is a website, or really a service for hosting user-generated content. So if you click here, it'll bring you to things that people have uploaded and can be shared and downloaded, but it's not required. So, you should be fine without it. But no, there's no internet needed. You don't need internet at all. Gerandis asks, can you just input card results and make a promotion? Yes, but there are some caveats. So if you go here to add event, you can do this. I will show you here in a second. Let me go to my test universe so I'm not adding things to my main universe. So, okay, we're in the test universe now. So if you go to add event, you just, let's see, we'll call this test stream because we're on the stream. I'm not going to bother with that. We'll put this in, we'll select a venue. Oh, this has no venues added, so we'll go, I don't know, test stadium. And we'll go save event info. So now we have test stream here. And so that added the card, and then you could just go to add match. Here's the caveat. You have to enter things in a certain format. So the match header always needs to end up, the final line needs to be something versus something. So, we could have, let's see, Randy Savage versus, we'll say, Buddy Rogers. And then your results always need to be in this format that it suggests. Wrestler A beat Wrestler B via finisher. So, and for tag teams, this is the actual wrestler. It is not the team. So it'll figure all that out when it processes them. So, here we got Buddy Rogers beat Randy Savage via figure 4 grapevine. And so that'll work. Like if you enter that, it will pick it up in the ratings and all of that stuff. See, there it is. And if I go here to my ratings or rankings, you can see that Buddy Rogers now has 2 matches, and one of them is against Randy Savage on test stream. So that's how to work that. Let's see what Randy Savage has. He's 1-4, so he's lost a whole bunch of stuff. He lost to Harley Race, lost to Rick Rude. He beat Rick Rude. Rick Rude beat him, and then he lost to Randy Savage just in my testing stuff. So that's how to add stuff. And like if you want to add a DQ, when you come in here, you still need that to add it in the same format. So it'd be like Wrestler A beat Wrestler B via disqualification or via DQ due to brawling or whatever. It just needs to be in that format. And with a draw, it'll have it. It says down here, Wrestler A beat, what is it? I can't remember what the draw one is. I'd have to go look and see. But anyway, that's the that is the how to enter cards in by hand. And this is new. I added it last in the last update. You can import them from COTG Online. So if you've been playing COTG Online, you can just enter the. So if you go to COTG Online, which I don't really have any cards um, created, but if you go there and then you click, what is it? I think it's like view, like print friendly view. It'll have the event information, which will be like the card name, the location, and the date. You just paste that in here, and then you paste all the you copy all the matches and paste it in here, and it'll parse and create a new event and input all of the information in the way that you need it. So if you're coming from COTG Online, you can import your information pretty easily. If you're coming from a handwritten Fed, unfortunately, the only way to do it is to do it by hand. So, um, okay, that was Gerandis's question. Um, hopefully that helped with that. Let me know if you need more info for that. I tried to be pretty thorough, but there might be some specific question that you have. Neil says my laptop has no connection. How do I set it up? So you'd need, I guess you would need to be able to download it. You could download it at a friend's house onto a USB. The you just need to download um, the setup file for whatever. Like if you have a Mac laptop, you're gonna have to download the Mac version. If you have a Linux laptop, you'll need the Linux version. If you have a Windows laptop, you just download the Windows setup file and you're good to go. So yeah, you can put it on a USB and bring it. It's about the setup files for all of them are around 200 megabytes, so they're not huge. Any USB should be fine to download it and put it on your laptop. You might even be able to do it with a phone. I don't know. If you have like a if you can access your laptop through a phone, like with a USB connection, you can plug it in and browse for files. You just browse to your downloads thing and copy it over to your laptop, and that should be fine. Um, so that should answer Neil. Mark Ferguson asks, maybe you could load the download on a flash drive. Yep, I mean that's what we just talked about. Um, so yeah, that's and then I mean one thing I should mention, Neil. It Well, you can continue to use it after you have joined my Patreon. You don't have to remain a Patreon subscriber. The download links are for subscribers only. So you would have to join the Patreon for at least 1 month. I think the minimum is five. So it'd cost like $5. And then you can cancel your Patreon. I know some people are, like I'm on a fixed income. I'm disabled. So, I don't generally like the subscription model because I don't make a lot of money. Um, so, I am completely conscious of that, and I'm not trying to punish anybody. So, you subscribe for 1 month, pay me the $5 or whatever, and it's yours to use for the rest of eternity. I'm not going to turn it off on you or anything. So, but it isn't free off the bat, I guess is the best way to put it. And it doesn't come with any cards or anything, so you'd have to put in the time to enter your own card information and everything. So that's something that is good to know, I guess. And also, if you can't tell, I'm getting over a cold. I'm kind of ill at this point. Yeah, I've got some kind of chest thing. Billy, which is Hexstar, who is one of the reasons that I'm trying to push for the COTG stuff. He messaged me the other day and was like, "Hey, can we get territory management working for COTG?" And I was like, "Well, probably not. Um, but if you have any ideas on how to do it," and he didn't really have any ideas other than like just put make it just kind of space with dots, and the dots represent areas, and I was like, well, I don't like that for the reasons that I mentioned earlier. Like what if a new area is added and suddenly we're out of date? But I did come up with the compromising thing. But you can thank Billy for that. That was sort of his push, and he's the guy who does the manual, which is one thing that was mentioned in the offline comments. People who couldn't make it. Scott Stamper asked, "Is there a manual available?" And yes, there is. If you click here and then go to this little icon here, which will glow gold when you're over it. Let me click on this, and it will bring up the manual, which was done by Billy Roberts there, who is Hexstar on the official boards and everywhere else. But it is almost 200 pages of information. It's very well done. It mimics like the old program manuals that you used to get when you bought an application and it was printed. Obviously this is a digital application. I'm not doing physical copies of this. So, you're not going to get a printed copy of the manual, but it is there. I don't recommend printing it out. It's 200 pages. But it goes through like everything, it is very thorough. He's done a really, really good job with this. It has pictures. There was a problem loading the image because I scrolled too fast. But yeah, it's got everything that you could possibly want to know how to do is in there. So definitely check out the manual if you haven't. It's invaluable if you don't know how to do something. Or you could always ask. There is the Discord. You need to join the Patreon for a month to get access and have your Discord account linked to the Patreon, and it will send you an invite to the Discord. It is private, so you can access it that way, and then you could just ask anything in there, and I always have it open. So you're definitely able to do that. How does territory management work? Oh, sorry. Is it easy to set up? Really, it's an organizational tool. It's not so much of a game or anything. So basically, you'll come in here and it'll have, you have your regions. You could go over if you wanted to run a Japanese promotion. You've got Japan over here. You can click on it and you can add promotions and venues to the territory. Let's say I wanted to add Neo Japan Pro Wrestling. And it's going to use, I don't know, the test You could select your roster, which you've set up. You could select the promotion's popularity in the region. So we'll say it's very popular in this particular region. And anything you want to know. Then you could select an image. Let's see here. I don't really have very many great images for promotions at this point, so we'll go with this one just cause. And then you hit OK. And then you can select. Oh, I typed New Japan and I meant to type Neo Japan. But it's very popular in Kansai. Then you can add a venue to Kansai by coming up here. Let's say it's the Kansai Sports Stadium. It's in, I don't even know what cities are there. So we'll just call it a Japanese city. Venue notes, we can add any kind of notes we want to add. No notes. Then we add the capacity. Let's say this is a 12,000 seat thing. We could add an image if we had one. We don't. You can hit OK. And it will just default to this. This is like the, I don't know what image it is sort of thing. So, but now if we have these both selected, the New Japan and the Kansai, you come up here and book event, and you could book it with or without attendance info. If you hit with attendance info, it will use like the size of the promotion and everything to generate how many fans are in attendance. This was a sellout, and then you can book your matches and everything. But that's how that works. It's really easy to set up. But it's mostly for, like I said, it's mostly for like organizational purposes. Like there's no gameplay element to it or anything. You could come up with your own kind of gameplay storylines or whatever that you need to. Like you could have competing promotions. You could have this promotion. So if you wanted to put New Japan in multiple things, you just add it to multiple things. You can set its popularity to be different in different regions, that sort of thing. So definitely not too hard to set up. You can also set up, this is new in the new version. You could set up promotions in here. And, like if you were to create a new promotion and call it whatever, Global Wrestling. I'm not going to bother with that. But let's say you wanted to make it popular in all regions, but then you can add specific things. So let's say you wanted to say it was an institution in Kanto and very you want to say in Hawaii it's unpopular. You could do that. And then let's do this test and Blue. Yeah, sure. Test. Global Wrestling is there. Then you can go here. And if you went in here, you could see that Global Wrestling is now there. It is popular in Nebraska. If we go to Hawaii, Global Wrestling is there, but it is unpopular. So you can add them, globally that way. There's no way to add it to a specific region currently. So like you basically just have to, yeah, there we go. You basically would have to add it to all of the areas in a region instead of the region itself. So, but yeah, that's kind of how that works. Um, that's annoying me, and it shouldn't. Let's put this over here for now. But yeah, I don't think it's too hard to set up or use. But yeah, like I said, it's not a game like it doesn't have any goals or it's not gonna help you manage finances or anything like that. Where you would it would make it more gameplay esque with like sort of a goal and a failure condition and all of that sort of thing. That wasn't really my goal there. I generally don't like doing that, so I just leave all of that up to you because I feel like that's better in the long run. It allows you to be more freeform with it. David Barnes, hi Carl. If I were to move my card data files to another folder, does it erase the event history since those files aren't in? Um, yeah, if you start moving things around, it's going to mess things up. And it may not mess things up in the way there could be references to the amount of card data files that you have or things in other files. So I don't really recommend, unless you know what you're doing or you're like on the test team and can ask me specifically, like, is this okay? And even then, like I broke Grant's, I broke all of Grant's uh, metadata for like a couple of things because I didn't think of it because he asked, "Hey, if I edit these files like outside of the program, if I change like the file names and stuff, will it affect stuff?" And I was like, "Oh no, that should be fine." But I totally forgot that there are links to the file names in other files, so it ended up breaking his rosters and his metadata. So I really don't recommend moving things around outside of the program or editing the card files or anything else outside of the application. It could have unintended consequences, and it might be hard to fix once it's broken. Like, if you've broken it and then saved something, or it auto saves in the broken state, and then you put the files back, it may not fix your issue because now things don't match at all. Just like before, it's just now the card files are there and it's saying that there shouldn't be any or whatever. So yeah, don't mess with the file structure. Don't mess with the files outside of the application. Generally speaking, if it's you have a documents folder with an FG Assistant document folder inside of it, anything in there is fine. You can usually move things around. You could put new images in there. That sort of thing is fine. But anything in your app data folder for FG Assistant, leave it alone. It's not meant to be messed with outside of the application. JT 2.0, hello. Thanks for joining in. Billy Roberts says, I really like the match rules feature that was recently added. I think that helps most with the gameplay outside of creating cards and booking events. It's nice to have, yeah. He's talking about the the match rules editor here, and I have a bunch of them entered. I went through and took all of the match rules from my charts and things and moved them into here. But if you go to edit match, you can see the match rules, and you can select this in booking and in the match viewer. And then if you hit like display match rules, it will display this in the match text. So it's an easy way to to make sure that, like, if you have a question about the match rules, it's easy, and you don't have to go find the physical charts or whatever and look it up. So yeah, I that was definitely something that I was happy to have added. I am going to check. I know there was one more question on the Facebook from somebody who was not going to be here. So let me go and check that real quick. There was Scott Stamper's question about the instruction manual. Jeff Stafford says he was having trouble getting belt images on my champions. So let me run through that. This is going to be, let me bring it up so that you don't have to see all of my stuff. Documents, FG Assistant. Okay, so now let's go here and make sure that that shows up on the screen. It should, but you never know. There we go. So yeah, here is the, I don't know why I did that. That's stupid. Let's just turn this off. There we go. There we streaming issues. But so all of your title images are going to go into the whatever your documents is. This is going to be different if you're on a Mac or a PC or Linux, but every operating system has a documents folder associated with the current user. And inside that folder is going to be an FG Assistant folder. This is the one that I said that you're really able to move things around and it's fine. And so in here, there will be a title images folder, and you can put your images in here. So let's say you move an image into there. That image is going to show up inside your FG Assistant title history thing. So it will show up in here. And let's say you want to create a new title. So you click this. If you do not click this first, you will not be able to create, your title won't save, essentially. So we'll give this a name. We'll call this the, the Test Junior title. I don't know. We'll make it vacant for now. Or now, let's assign it to somebody. We'll give it to Buddy Rogers. It's going to have a prestige of 75, so it's lower than the test title. The start of his reign is today. And we're going to use this nice ILGP that Greg Hunter shared recently. And then we're going to go ahead and hit save. And of course, it's going to create the title. You're going to have the image there. And it's going to have the champion, Buddy Rogers. So that's how to do it. If you edit one of these, like let's say you want to change your prestige or whatever, and you don't select a title thing and you hit save, it actually did continue to save it. Sometimes it will default it to nothing. So just be aware that that can happen. It's always best to just kind of select the title picture and then hit save before you do it. So, but there you go. That's how to create a title with a title belt image. Just to make sure to select it. Um, and yeah, so like it will sometimes it will default to this one, and you won't be able to see that this is the selected one. And then if you hit save, it will change the title. So, but yeah, just be aware. Obnoxiously, I need to change this. This is a bug. If you click on it and then unclick on it and then click on it again, you can't see that that's the selected one. I need to fix that at some point. So, but yeah, there you go. That's how to do that. Gerandis asks, when setting up a promotion, is it under promotion editor if I'm to add titles and so forth? No, the titles are not actually attached to any promotion. They're sort of free floating. So you could create like if you created like I created that global wrestling, if I wanted to go in here and let's say I want to create a global wrestling world title, I'm going to select the image that I want to use. Let's say I'm going to use that one. I don't even know what that one is. And then I give it a name. I go Global Wrestling Championship or title. I don't know what you want to call it. The current holder, let's give it to somebody. We'll just say Rick Rude. I don't know. Give it a prestige. Let's say this one is pretty prestigious. See, I forgot to click on the create new title, so it's not going to work. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to have to to create it. I need to make sure that that's not possible too. I need to basically nullify or turn off the interactivity on all these inputs if you don't have a title selected. So Global Wrestling title. Rick Rude was the champion we wanted to establish. We'll do 125. If this is being finicky, if you have it clicked on, you can hit left and right on your keyboard and it will go up by one. So just so you know, his championship will start today too. We'll hit save, and then you've got your title now, and it is not, like I said, it's not attached to the global wrestling. You just have to name it that. But yeah, there's no way to attach titles to a promotion specifically. It's all free floating. So, and then yeah, you can create promotions under territory management or under promotion editor. Either one is fine. If you create it under territory management and it's meant to be for COTG, it won't show up. If you click on COTG, like a COTG skin right now, like Champions, it will actually get rid of the promotion editor because in the current version, it is not set up to accept input that isn't like a real world location. But I am changing that, so it will be in the next update in February or March, excuse me. So all throughout February, I'm going to be working on making these independent of territory management. Territory management will still be for kind of legends and indies stuff only. If you have a champion style thing, it won't do you much good. But these promotion editors, and there will be a venue editor over here as well. Those will work in your champions themed stuff. So, but that'll come in March. But yeah, so if you're just looking for indies and all of that, you can do it through there or here. If you're looking for champion stuff, you should do it through the promotion editor in March. But yeah, so it's pretty simple. But it's I guess it is kind of a new thing, so you just you'll get used to it over time the more you do it. The title will show on the current champion in your card management screen as well. Billy says, yes, that's true. So if you, if you set up a roster for Global Wrestling and select Rick Rude, and then it'll display the title over here. We'll do that real quick just to show you. Create new roster. We'll call this Global Wrestling, and then we'll add Rick Rude is in Promoter Prime, Legends Prime. Was he in? He was in 2022, wasn't he? Yeah, Rick Rude. So we'll just add him there, and then we'll save the roster. Then we'll go main menu. And if we go here, and we have the roster selected for, Global Wrestling, and we hit all. He's got the title on him, so that is a thing that happens. I guess that is one way to kind of keep or to show titles between promotions, is to make sure that the champions are on the roster, that sort of thing. JT 2.0, I broke my scanner with a hand full of cards left to go. I just got a new one, but it's worth the price of admissions for the app. I'm glad you think so. I just have a crappy, all-in-one printer scanner thing. I think it might be a Canon or one of those. But yeah, it does the job. I'm not trying to scan in high res. Honestly, I think the biggest that the card ever gets is, I think it's like 6 something by 5 something. So it's not particularly large. You don't really need like a crazy high res scan. Um, Generally, I just do it, what is that, a 300 DPI, which makes my image like 1625 by 14 something or 15 something in pixels. Usually about 3 megabytes of, for a front, and about a megabyte and a half for the back, since it's mostly text. Um, but yeah, it's not crazy large. And then when I create the cards in card management, I always have this checked. If you the rescale image, I always have that enabled, and it will rescale the image basically to the smallest size or the largest size that the application uses, and this makes things smaller and easier to load. So I always recommend having that checked. If you don't, your card files will be really, really large, and they will eat more memory when you have them loaded. And right now, if you have them all loaded, it really eats your memory. So you can always come up here and disable this, load cards at start. I like it loaded. It means that things take less time when I'm in the application. But if you don't have a lot of graphics memory, which is the big thing right now with cards, like I said, I'm planning on refactoring that throughout February for the March update. And that's going to be the biggest thing for the March update. Well, the biggest thing on my end. On your end, you won't notice any difference, aside from it using less of your memory, or graphics memory specifically. So yeah, that'll be one way to handle it, is just disable that. But I'm rambling about things that you probably don't care about. Are there any more questions? I think we've got through everything that was mentioned in the Facebook for people who are not here. But if you're watching live and have any questions about the application, if you're not a user like Neil and you want to know more about like things you can do with it, feel free to ask that sort of thing. If you have suggestions, that's fine too. If you have questions, I am open to fielding those. If not, I'll probably leave it live for a little bit just to see if anybody else drops in, and we'll go from there. But yeah, if it's mostly done, I will probably sign off here in a little bit. just to preserve my voice. So, but yeah, just let me know. Like I said, if you have any questions. JR says, feel better soon. I feel okay. It's not, I've got like a chest cold that I'm getting over. So I've got a little bit of a lingering cough. And, you know, there's some congestion, which is making my voice a little rougher than normal. Um, but other than that, it's not too bad. I feel okay actually. Finally, took like 2 weeks, but uh, uh, I'm happy to be feeling better finally. Now let's put this back on the NWC, and that should have got rid of my stuff. And I think right now rosters are kind of universal. I didn't plan for that to be that way, but I mean, no, okay, good. I think I fixed that maybe then, because for a little bit rosters were kind of universal, so you would like if I created that global wrestling roster in my test universe and then switched it back to NWC, it would switch back. So, or it would follow me, and I didn't intend for that. So I'm glad I finally got around to fixing it, because I don't remember doing it, but apparently I did. Um, so I guess the only other thing that I wanted to show off was let's go here. I'm gonna bring up my thing again. It's on the Facebook. Let's go to my um, let's start a new thing here. Let's go. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to load up a guest mode thing. That's what I'm trying to do. And that way I'm not logged in. So FG HTTPS. Jesus, I cannot type to save my life today, apparently. And we want patreon.com/FG assistant. And so now you can see that we have our shop here, and I have added PDF Prime 2021. So that is all in there, and I will be adding PDF Prime 2022 in March, and then PDF Prime 2023 in April. Thanks to a working relationship, I guess, to put it in wrestling terms, with Jared Rickert, who was happy to have PDF Prime come to the assistant. These are all, you could just buy them and download the file and load it into the game. Patreon makes me zip them up, so they're all zip files, but once you unzip them, you can just load them straight into the application by going to card management. And I just wanted to show this off because people have asked. And then you go to install card pack, select the file, and load them in. I don't they're already in my game, so I don't have any need to load them in, but that's how you would do it. Install card pack, select the file that you let's see, it brings up a menu. You just select the file from the menu and you go from there. And it will load all of the cards into your game. So really simple, really easy. You could see some sample images here. We've got Karl Gotch and Toyo Nobori and Bloody Buddy O'Brien. And this has both of these. So if you buy the full set, it's $50, which is less than 50 cents per card. I know that it's a little expensive, but the PDF Prime sets are very large. Even if you charged $1 per Warner artwork, it's you get more than than 50 cards with Warner artwork. So, it's, I know it's a little pricey, but I feel like they're totally worth it. I'm glad to be working with Jared. Um, you know, if you're going to buy the full set, don't buy the bonuses in the main set. It includes it all, but you can buy the main set separately or the bonuses separately, and the price works out to about the same. So, even though it seems like it's more expensive, it's really like about the same price per card as all of the other ones, or less. So, um, you know, it's I think it's worth it. But support. Jared makes just like with Slim's cards. I think I was pretty transparent about that, and I'll be transparent about my deal with Jared. It's a 60-40 split. I pay for all the processing stuff, so really, for the $50 that you pay for the full set, Jared makes $30. I make $20. My $20 pays Patreon for their processing stuff and PayPal for their PayPal fees and all that stuff. So, or the credit card stuff. Whatever you use to buy it through your Patreon, I end up paying for all the processing fees on that. So, I end up making, I think it's about 12 or $13 out of my 20 after all of the fees come out. So really, it supports Jared. It helps him buy more cards from his artists for the upcoming PDF Prime sets. So for 2024, 2025, all of that stuff. So, definitely support. And the same can be said for the Slim sets. I just paid Slim yesterday, and he was excited. It'll pay for several new cards, for his upcoming sets. So definitely worth it. And then my sets are on there. If you are a Digital Bootlegger Plus level subscriber or better, you get these for free. If you're not, you can go ahead and buy them. If you're just a basic level, or tier member of the Patreon, and you decide you want, my set with Bruno or whatever, you can go ahead and buy them separately. That's what it's for. But yeah, so that's the shop. There is other stuff. I made a deal with Sam Looptack. Same split, 60-40. His cards he needs to get me the cards, into digital format, and I'll put them up there. I don't have an ETA on those, but they are coming. So if you've ever been interested in Sam sets and haven't bought them or want them for the assistant and aren't planning on playing like physically with them or anything, they are coming. Is Grant's bootlegs going to be available? Grant actually made all of his bootlegs available on, if you go here and Mod.io, Grant made all of his bootlegs available here. So if we go to Indies, you can see that all of Grant's bootlegs are available here. You can just download them. They're free. Grant didn't want to charge money for them. So, props to Grant. They're all available for free on the Mod.io site. So definitely check those out if you're interested in Grant's Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, or even some of Grant's. I think there were a couple of Galactical Champions cards that are there. Let's get the Champions loaded. This is Bear. Bear did some bootlegs and gave Billy Roberts permission to upload them. I don't think Bear is a user of the application, but he gave Billy permission to upload them, so they're all there. But yeah, they're like Galacticon. Some of Billy's stuff is up there. There's the Galactical. So Grant has uploaded his champion stuff as well. But that's basically what it is. Um, so yeah, if you're looking for grant sets, they're on Mod.io. They're available for free. You don't need to buy them. Um, it's just people who usually charge money for their sets, like me, or Sam Luptak. Jared Rickert does the PDF Prime. That's a buy-in. I talked with Will. I'm going to be, again, I believe in full transparency. I talked with Will about doing the UBU stuff up here, and because he said because he's only active for a couple of months a year collecting money for the Tregosthez Hall of Fame, he didn't really want to put stuff up there because people could buy them all year long, and he would have to collect money. I would be paying him every month for whatever was downloaded, and he would have to collaborate that and get it to the hall. And he's like, I don't really want to deal with all of that, so he opted out. But he said, it just didn't seem like it was for him. But I did approach him, so UBU will not be on the store page. I know that those are some of the best bootlegs, and people really wanted that. I got asked if I could try to get Will on board a couple of times, and I did, and he said no, and that's fine. But you're still able to enter the cards manually. If you buy the cards from Will, if you buy the PDFs from Will, you can easily enter them. That was something I wanted to show off too. So let's say you buy the cards and you want to enter them. There's an easy way to do this. I use Photoshop. You can also use GIMP, which is free. I'm not familiar with GIMP. I'm not going to show you how to set up the GIMP stuff. But if you come over here to action, or I think you actually have to go up here and turn on the actions menu. If you don't have it on, mine is on. It is over here. But you can create an action for LOW cards, which I did. I will create another one just to kind of show you how to do it. But if you come down here and you go, I guess, where is it? It's new action, and you give it a name, and let's call this, PDF to card. And we're on record here. So we're going to go ahead and let's actually stop recording real quick because we're going to need to open a thing first. So let's open a PDF. I have a bunch of them here. These are Jared's 2022 PDFs for PDF Prime. So let's just drag one in. We'll drag in Ann Casey. And you can see here that if you drag in a PDF to Photoshop, it will just load it up. No problem. We're going to select both the front and the back. It will load up as separate cards. Now, so this is centered. That's the biggest thing. It doesn't matter whether it's like a full card page, like a full, 8.5 by 11 sheet, or whether it's like this. It just needs to be centered. That's the important thing. But what you're going to do, so go down here and record. Now we're going to start recording the action. What we're going to do is you're going to come up here to image, and you're going to go to, where is it? Image. You want canvas size, not image size. So you're going to do canvas size. You're going to make sure it's anchored in the middle. You're going to go to inches. And what you're going to do is you're going to go, the width of a card is 4.25. The height of a card is 5.5. And you're going to go OK. And it's going to say that there's going to be some clipping. And you're going to say proceed anyway. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to come back here to layers. And you're going to go solid color and white. And you're going to hit OK. And it's going to put it in front of the image. You're going to drag it behind. And you're going to get the nice white border now. And then you're going to go back to actions. You're going to hit stop recording. And there you go. And now you've got a quick and easy action that you can run to basically um, crop and set up anything. So if like we go to here, this is slightly larger. If we play this action, I've got a stupid ass Steam thing in my way here. Cancel. Where is the PDF to card? That's it. So if we play this action on this, it will crop it and set it up. It will put a white background beneath it. So if there's any, like, there might be a very tiny transparent space up here. It will put white behind it. You can barely see it. So that will basically allow you to save these now as PNG files and bring them into the game. So that's an easy way to do it. Also, I didn't do it on this one, but you can set these up. Let's see. I'm going to create a new action just to show you without actually doing it. So you can actually add a function key to this. So like, let's say you wanted to stick it on your F7 key, like Control and F7 will run that action in Photoshop. I don't know if that's a thing in GIMP, but I know that GIMP does have actions. I have my actions set up. So like, let's kill these. I already have and Casey. So I have my actions actually set up to bring up the save menu as well. So if we go here, I'm going to bring in, let's say, Velvet McIntyre, same deal. Bring it over. Mine are set to F5, so if I hit Control F5, it will do everything it needs to, and then bring up my save menu so that I can save it as a ping. And it will do the same thing if I do it on the back. So, yeah, actions are really helpful in Photoshop for creating, for setting up your PDF files to cards. If you're interested in doing that. So just a tip that really is kind of generally outside the scope of these videos, but I thought it was super helpful, and it's helped me bring a lot of so I'm in charge of doing all of the PDF Prime stuff and bringing it into the game so that we can set it up for sale, and it has helped immensely with that. So, I thought I'd share it. It will work with the, like if you buy the UBU PDFs off of Will, it should work there too. It works with PDF Prime. It doesn't work with my PDFs or the PDFs from, like Filsinger official stuff because they're doubled up, two to a sheet. You could easily create an action that works for those double sheets too. It wouldn't be very hard to do. Billy said I was just doing it with simple snippet. I don't like using the snippet stuff. I mean, you can. That's fine too. I just, I'd rather have it measured exact and all of that stuff. Just me being anal. Snippet is real hard. Even you can get a pretty good approximation of the card and the area you need and everything, but this makes it exactly the size that a card should be. And for me, that's important. It's just me being anal, really, more than anything. Um, you know, Being anal is it's a good trait for people who do software design, but it can be really irritating for people who I just want, quick stuff or, aren't as predisposed to be, to want everything to be perfect or to have, like a defined size. Like for me, it needs to have that defined size because I'm, in my head, it is being manipulated by an application and the application expects it to be a certain size and, all of that stuff. So, you know, um, for me, I can't use the snipping tool for that kind of thing, but it certainly works. And, nothing against you if you'd rather do it that way. That's just the way I do it. And like I said, I know that GIMP can use actions. I don't know how to set them up in GIMP. You could probably YouTube it, and get a pretty good um, tutorial on how to do it. And it should be the same. If you're just setting the canvas size to be 4.25 by 5.5, and that's the size of a card, 4.25 inches by 5.5 inches, and then adding a white border, a white layer underneath it, to get rid of any of the transparency that might be left. Because yeah, some cards are not, um, they don't go out to the edge, and so the white border is kind of a thing that you would need. Otherwise, it would look small and silly in the game. Um, so yeah, that is that. And I don't think there were any other questions. JR says there's gold in those PDF Prime sets. I agree. And one thing that I've always said is that Jared is not afraid of sticking like big names in the bonuses, and sometimes big name with Warner art. Like I just finished PDF Prime 2022, and like the bonuses for 2022, there's like a red robed Ric Flair in there, which I think I did. I uploaded to or I uploaded my version of it because the art was just something that Warner stuck on his Instagram or Tumblr or one of those accounts, and I was like, oh holy crap, this is really cool Ric Flair art. So I downloaded it, and I uploaded my version with different stats to Mod.io, but Jared has a version in there, with his stats, on PDF Prime, and like the Funks, both Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk are in the bonuses um, for PDF Prime 2022, which isn't up there yet, but will be soon. Jason PDSI says I had questions, and of course now I can't remember them. That sounds like my entire existence. So I'm with you. Like I forget stuff constantly. So is this the version? Is the version you have on screen the latest version? Yes, this is the version that I just uploaded yesterday to Patreon. Um, you should get an email when I upload new versions if you're a Patreon, like if you're a subscriber on Patreon, um, you know, and if your subscription is still active, you should get an email. If you're not getting an email when I update, check your spam folder. Sometimes Patreon emails will go to your spam folder. Um, but uh, the other thing is, if you're in the Discord, um, I also have updated. I'll post when I update in there. Um, but that was one thing I did want to show off. Thank you for mentioning that. Um, uh, so people have been asking me, how do you update? And so let me show you that. This is this is not as a member of the thing. So basically, to update, uh, if you were to join, I'm not going to show you. I don't want to bring up the thing because it will have all of the information to like how much money people have made from sales of their sets and stuff. And you know, I don't know whether Slim and Jared would care a whole lot if people saw that, but I don't want to assume that they'll be okay with it. So I'm trying not to bring up Patreon while I'm logged in so that you see all of that information because, like I said, I just don't know whether they want that information out there. Like, personally, I don't care. Like, I'll tell you how I make enough off of FG Assistant right now, thanks to your support, that my wife doesn't mind me working on it as a part-time thing. So that's great, and thank you so much. Like I said, I'm all for transparency. I make a little less than $400 a month, on it. It isn't enough that I can support myself, but it's enough that my wife is like, that's cool. Like I'm glad that you make that, and she's not like get off of there and do stuff like meh. So not that my wife sounds like that. I love my wife, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry I did that horrible impression. But generally speaking, like, yeah, I make just under $400 a month on FG Assistant. And, it's been really amazing to see people support it in the way that they have. And, I'm not trying to hide anything. I just don't know whether Jared and Slim want that information out there. So what I'm going to do is show you, I'm going to assume that you downloaded it, right? So we're going to go here. I'm going to quit out because we're going to need to do that. And then, so you've downloaded FG Assistant, and let's say you've downloaded it. I'm going to go to my builds. This is where, when I make a build and everything, it's going to go there. But I haven't made a build since I updated on Patreon, so it'll be the same version. So you go to build. So you'll go to wherever it is that you downloaded it to, and you'll have this file. Let's say you downloaded it to your desktop. I'm going to put it on my desktop. Make this real easy. So you downloaded it to your desktop. You have this FG Assistant setup.exe for Windows. This is how to do it for Windows. I don't have a Mac. I don't have a Linux computer. I have tested on Linux through the, the Ubuntu distribution that comes with Windows, so you can do Linux in Windows. So I have tested it. I know it works for Linux, but I don't have, like an easy access to Linux or anything. So you're going to run this. You're going to load it up. It's going to do its thing. You're going to say yes if it asks. And then it's going to bring this up. It is currently 0.1. I never update the version information. I probably will when I stop working on it. Like when I feel like FG Assistant has everything that it needs to, and it's been bug fixed to the point that, there's nobody's reporting any bugs or anything. I may set it up to be 1.0 and just call it a day. And then, maybe I'll work on 2.0 or something, which will have multiplayer or some shit. I have no idea yet, but just, thinking about it in the future. So this will come up. It'll always say 0.1. So don't let that think, I've got the wrong version. This was the last version or anything. This will always say that. I don't update it. I'm bad about that. So you're going to hit it. If you want it to create a desktop shortcut, you're going to click that. I don't, because I have it over here, and it will always put it like at the bottom of your first row of icons. So it will always put it here, and I fucking hate moving it back to over there. So I just say no. Once you've done it once, you don't need to do it again. So hit next, hit install, and it will do its thing. That's all you got to do to update. You just download the same program that you downloaded the first time and run it. It'll update everything that needs to be updated. You can launch it at that point. I'm not going to. And, that's how to update. I've gotten a bunch of questions about that. And so that will be, if people want to watch the video for this long, they'll learn how to do that. So, but that's how you do it. And then when you run it, it'll be the most recent version. So, updating is pretty simple. Also, I want to show the bug thing because people aren't, well, some people are using it, and other people are not. And so I figured I would show it off. It's not just for bugs. You can make suggestions with it too. So, anywho, in any screen, it has a thing down here that says press F12 at any time to report bugs or submit feedback. So if you hit F12, it will bring up this nice little feedback form, and you can go ahead and fill this in. Your email is optional. There's a pretty good chance that I'm not going to email you about something, but it does help to put it in there because, like, let's say, it's, I need more information or something like that. I can go ahead and email you if you put it in there. So you're going to fill all of this stuff in, and then you're going to select whether it's feedback, like a suggestion, or like, hey, it would be cool if maybe this was laid out a little differently, that sort of thing. Or if it's a bug, you can go ahead and select bugs, and like if it's crashing the game, like locking everything up, this form should still work. So you just set high priority, or if it's just something small, like, hey, I expected it to do this and it didn't. Is this like a bug, or is this, I'm misunderstanding this? Set it to low priority. You'll fill it in and then you'll hit submit. So let's do feedback. It's low priority feedback. We'll call this test. Email is my email, so we'll go ahead and fill that in. This is my actual email. Don't blow me up. Let's go. I don't know. We'll say cool thing, and then you hit submit. It'll submit, and everything is good. On my end, just to show you how this works, let's kill that. On my end, if I go here and I go to my FG Assistant and my Trello, I will get a nice little thing that will have a screenshot of what you were looking at. So it'll always be from the game, so you don't have to worry. When you bring up that menu, it screenshots whatever it is that you're looking at. So it'll always be from the game because you can't bring it up not in the game. So it will have a screenshot of whatever it is that you're looking at. It will tell me what kind of computer you're using there. So it'll have like all of that information for me in case that matters. And it will have like your resolution, your quality level, all of that stuff. And then it will have your information, your test, your email, your detail. And if you're submitting a bug or anything, it will have a nice log so that I can check and see where things are happening. So that's a really nice way to submit usually all of the information that I'm going to need to fix whatever bug it is that you're having. So please use that. It really is helpful. If you fill in your email, I can get a hold of you if I need more information. You can always post in the Discord if you have access to it. That's fine too. If you post in the Discord, I may ask for a log or a screenshot of your log if you need to do that. If you press the F1 key, it will bring up this console here. This is your log. If there was an error, there would be a bunch of text here with the information about the error. And you can screenshot that however you screenshot things. If you don't have a way to screenshot it, you can always come up here, and this little thing here will save it as a text file. So you can go ahead and do that, and it will save it, output it as into a logs folder in your FG Assistant My Documents area. You can also, if you hit the report bug from here, it will bring up the feedback thing that you saw before. So that's just another way to access it. You can open your card or data directory from here as well. Like if I'm like, if you're getting a bug and I'm like, check your card directory to see if you have any cards with like a 0 file size, because that's been one of the bugs that I've not been able to figure out how to, like, what's causing basically fake cards or empty cards. You can hit this and it will bring up your card directory, and then you can sort it by size over here, and see if you have any empty ones. I do not, so that's good. But you can, that's one way to do it, sort of. And same thing with your data directory. It will bring up all of your everything in your app data, FG Assistant data folder. So if I ever ask you to do that, you can always press F1, or I think it's Control and what is it? Control Shift. Yeah, it's Control Shift and backslash. Grant said that he has trouble getting F1 to work on a Mac. So if you're using a Mac or a Mac keyboard and you don't see an easy F1 key to press, you can always hit Control Shift Backspace. or no, it's not even control, it's just shift backspace, and it will load it up. So there you go. That's how to bring up the console if you ever need to. Let's see, Jason PDSI. I have a new question. How do I convert a PDF file for a ping? I actually just showed that. If you go back, I showed how to do it in Photoshop. Like I said, I said that everything should work in GIMP. GIMP is free. It's like a free Photoshop alternative. But I'd already talked about that. You should go back in, you could just scrub back in the video, probably about 15 minutes now. And you should see the tutorial on how to convert a PDF to a ping. Yeah, not super hard to do. Especially if you set up the actions like I did. Like I said, you can even hotkey them. So like literally all I have to do for most things, and some will always require a little bit of editing or whatever. But for the most part, for most things, all I have to do is Control and F5 for me, and it will run the action that I created that will create a usable ping image from whatever I was looking at in my Photoshop. But if, like I said, if you don't have Photoshop, you can use GIMP. It won't. You could do it with basically anything that will load a PDF file, but I think Photoshop is the easiest. It's the best way to get it to load. So. Or they could buy a PC, says Mark Bain. I'm not quite sure what that's in reference to, but I'm a PC user. I like Windows. I know that some people hate Windows. I'm not one of those people. I actively dislike Apple. They make everything really a giant pain in the ass for no reason, and they treat their users like they're idiots who don't know how to manage their machines. And while that may be true for some people, they charge you an arm and a leg to treat you like they're an idiot, like you're an idiot, and I just don't like that. I find Linux treats you like you are a computer genius, and I can use Linux, but I don't care for it. I find Windows to be sort of like the happy medium between having to go into the console and type in console commands to install packages and all of that garbage, and the Mac thing where it's like you can't even access the console unless you bring up some other console and type in some command that's going to allow you to access the friggin' command console so you can type things in to change. It's just, Macs are ridiculous. I just don't like them. But, I want to support as many OSs as I can. Billy Roberts, Hexstar, graciously sent me a very old iPad so I could try to get this running on iOS, which would be iPhones and iPads and stuff. But literally the day after the iPad showed up, I plugged it in, I got it all set up, and then Macintosh, Apple introduced this stupid fucking, sorry, I'm swearing. I don't know how PC everybody wants it to be, or not PC, how PG everybody needs this to be. I'll try to avoid swearing, but, Apple gets my goad. So, literally the day after it showed up, Apple introduced this stupid thing because of some EU regulations that introduced a runtime fee. So every time somebody installs your app, you owe Apple 53 cents. It's like a half a euro, which comes out to like 53 or 57 cents. And it's not over here in the US, but it is over in Europe. And so now, if you want to be on the Apple Store, you might end up owing Apple a ton of money for no reason, because they're basically trying to give the EU, they're doing what they call malicious compliance, where they're complying to the letter of the law, but they're giving the EU like a giant fuck you on the spirit of the law, and hoping that the EU will change the law. And I'm hoping that the EU pushes back and says, you know what, eat a dick, Apple. You can fuck off and die. And if you're going to do this, we're just going to fine the shit out of you until you can't afford to do business in the EU. Or, they change their their regulations for their Apple Store. So that's what I'm hoping. But until that happens, I don't really want to do very much with iOS, because I don't like, for Mac OS, it's cool. You can side load it or whatever, you have to enter a command or whatever to get it to work, but it works and it's fine. For the iOS, there's no good way to do that. Like Mac, they've locked it down. Apple has basically said, unless you're going to jailbreak your device, we're not going to allow side loading and all of that stuff on your iPad or whatever. So it's a giant pain. And, I'd like to support it because, like I said, I have an Android app actually for this application. It's a little more bare bones, but you can literally take your phone and run matches on it and save results, and all the basic stuff works. But I don't have any good way of getting that to iOS until Billy sent me that iPad, and then immediately afterwards, Apple decides they want to do all this junk. So, I'm just kind of waiting to see. And I mean, the EU did respond and basically said, we're not going to let you get away with this. Like, if you decide to do this, and like, this is your policy, we will come down on you and it will be miserable for you. And, I can't imagine Apple sticking to their guns here, because, like, I mean, the EU is like 90, like, I don't even know how much of Europe it's like 70, at least 70% of Europe is a member of the EU. So they wouldn't be able to do business in Germany and France and Ireland and Belgium, Italy, basically anywhere, in Europe. And I can't see them sticking with that. How much does this cost? It works on Windows OS. Yes, it works on Windows. That's what I'm running it on now. Uh, it is you have to support me on Patreon to get access to the download link. You can support me for 1 month. It's $5 for the download link. And then you can cancel, and it's yours you can run whatever version you downloaded. You can keep using that version indefinitely. So really, it's a $5 buy-in. If you want to support me longer, you get updates and all of that stuff. And I really would appreciate it. But I didn't want to lock people out if they don't want to support. So, like, let's say you decide you want to buy in at $5 and then cancel your thing. You can use it as long as you want. I'm totally fine with that. And then let's say I release an update, 6 months from now, that you're like, oh shit, like, I really want this new feature. You can pay me $5 again and download that version if you want. So there really is only one version. It's whatever the version, the version. I just released updates to things, and the updates generally have new features or bug fixes, that sort of thing. So it does make sense to stay subscribed if you can afford it. Like, I don't want to force anybody not to be subscribed. And usually, so the way it works is, if you subscribe for $5, you get access for a month. Bugs don't usually stick around for longer than a month. Like, if I do an update and there's like a bug in a feature, I usually fix that in a day or two and then release a fix version. on Patreon, and you'll get a notice that, you know, I've released a new version, and you can download it and it's fixed and everything's good. So, you know, there's not usually a big deal like if you want to cancel. But if you want to support, like, the next version will have a venue editor as well as a promotion editor. The promotion editor is in this new version, but the venue editor won't be. It'll be in the next one. And the next version will have better memory management for your GPU. So, I mean, there is definitely reasons to stick around if you can afford it. How does it differ from the old COTG desktop? What advantages or disadvantages does it have over COTG online? Okay, so COTG desktop was a Flash application, and I mean, well, it worked. It wasn't particularly nice, or you know, it was kind of bare bones. And you know, this tracks results. This is basically an offline version of COTG online with more features and a snappier response time. Like one of my, and the ability to create your own cards. I'm not charging you money to create cards. You can go in and, you know, there's no limit. You don't have to buy, you know, blank templates like you do on COTG online. You just go to create card, you select your images, and you can go ahead and add stuff. The disadvantages that it has over COTG online, just to be perfectly honest, yeah, accurate charts and the ability to create your own charts, which is definitely an advantage in my opinion. So like you can add in the vintage charts and actually use them, which you can't do on COTG online. They just have the one set of charts that you have to use for everything. The disadvantage is obviously that it's not online. So you can't access it from anywhere. You have to have your computer with you to use it. So there's that. Also, because I wanted to make sure that Filsinger Games was okay with the application, cards are locked to one computer. If you get a new computer or, you know, that kind of thing, there are ways to migrate your cards. Usually it involves contacting me, and you know, I'll set it up with like your old user ID and your new user ID, and then I generate like a passcode based on those two informations, and then, you know, you run it in the old program. It sets up the cards to be migrated, and then you can move them. So, you know, there are ways to move your cards around, but they are generally locked to one computer. So if you want to enter them on two computers, you have to physically enter the card on two computers. You can't just copy the file. And this is to avoid card piracy, obviously, which is one of the biggest issues that Filsinger Games had with the old COTG desktop app. That's the reason you're not allowed to talk about it on the official forums anymore, is because the minute that the application became a thing, people started talking about, oh, like, well, how can I trade cards and move them around between, you know, and they started like, oh, well, let's create like a repository for, you know, for all the official cards so everybody can access them. And it was just like, you know, come on, guys, like, you know, be a little more decent. And obviously Filsinger Games was not cool with that. And so they basically said, nope. And I mean, there was some confusion with people. Some people thought it was an official thing, and it wasn't. And I mean, the drama just, I mean, there was lots of drama with it. But this does not have any of that. It very clearly states it's not an official Filsinger Games product. It's a fan-made thing, you know, created entirely by me. And I locked the cards down so that you can't use them on more than one computer. What is the best way to use an arena card in the app? That's actually a fairly good question. So if you come into, this is in So let's say you're creating a match, right? Like you're in the book or edit event screen, and you're creating an event. And let's say you want to do it at an arena, like an arena. You'll bring up the arena menu here, or your arena set or whatever, your arena card, and you see this. It's got this little button here, and this means that it's this menu is not showing. Now it is. So you can actually roll on the arena chart. It's got a dice roller and all of that wonderful crap. You can add a modifier if you want to. But if you roll on the chart, it will bring up a little box that tells you what it rolled. And you can use this information to help you book your event. So for me, that's the best way to do it. So you've got this, the main event of this show will be a tournament to crown the new champion or determine the number one contender. So now you know that the show that you're booking should include a tournament. And so when you go ahead and book your show, you just you incorporate that information. But yeah, it's this little thing here. You just click that, and it will bring up the proper charts and everything to roll on. This also works for managers and like other non what was it? I think it was in. Was it in 10? I think it was in 10. There's an Arnold Skoland card. Was it in? He's an LE, isn't he? So it should be Legend 10 SE. So like, let's say you have this Arnold Skoland thing, and he's got that chart, right? Oh no, it won't work there because he's a wrestling card. He's not a manager card. I forgot that. But let's say you want to do like an interview or something. I mean, you could do this in the matches too, but let's see who's an interviewer. I know that Slim has one, so let's go down to Slim's Legend Series 3. We've got this. So you got your Brother Love card here. He's got the little arrow here too. You bring it up. This is a rule breaker interview. So, let's say he's talking with Akeem. You can just do the roll, and then there you go. You've got the thing, or you've got the interview done. You don't have to bring it into the to the match. Let's say you did want to bring it into the match, though. You do want a record of it, right? I will get to that in a second, Balboa. Just based on what little bit I know about it. Let me go through this first, though. So you're going to want to put your interviewer in the blue corner. It should always be in the blue corner. Now, let's say you want it with Mean Mark Callis. You're going to have Brother Love interview Mean Mark Callis. You hit Add Match, and you'll see that this is a segment. And you've got Brother Love with heel with Mean Mark Callis. So you're going to click that. You can click Run Match. It'll bring you into the match screen. And this won't do anything. Like, you don't really need to do anything here, right? Other than roll on the chart. You roll, it'll do its thing. You're good to go. You've got, the rule breaker talks about his feud with an enemy. Brother Love laughs. If you fill in the details, you hit End Match. You go, yes. So now you've got, you want to add this to an event because I wasn't there. But now, see, you have the interview rundown thing instead of a match. If it was supposed to be a match, you can hit this change segment type. But you've got the segment name, Brother Love Speaks with Mean Mark Callis. You can get rid of the with heel. I just needed to differentiate the cards. So Brother Love Speaks with Mean Mark Callis. Brother Love with heel interviewed Mean Mark Callis. Then what did they talk about? Let's say they Callis ran down his opponent. Let's see, who is his opponent? Let's Barry Windham. Let's say he's got a feud with Barry Windham. And Brother Love agreed with all. And there we go. So you hit OK, and then if we go view, I can't remember, I think I put that on card 1.1. But if we go to the event history now, we should have a record of that happening. I don't remember which card I put it on, so we'll have to go down till we find it. I should have paid more attention. uh, well, there it is. So see, we got Brother Love Speaks with me and Marcalis. This will add like a record of it. I'm going to delete it. I don't want it. Doesn't fit my thing. But just so you know, you can also run match it or run segments in the match thing just by putting the interviewer in the blue corner and the people he's interviewing in the red corner, and then running the match and rolling on the blue corner and then ending the match. That works fine. So, anywho, so that's another thing that I think a lot of people didn't realize that this could do. Balboa says COTG Online failed to develop because the subscription model was rejected. The original plan was to charge players annual fees to access Game Table and use their online sets without that revenue. The system would be had to be made unified. This killed the business model and now only operating ghosted. And is now only operating in a ghosted state with new sets but little support and no future upside technologically. One day, projects like yours will be the only way to. Yeah, I mean, that's been one of my biggest things with COTG Online. And again, I'm a big fan of transparency. I've talked with Mike Molesky about possibly getting Phil Singer on board with FG Assistant. I don't really have anything new to report on that. Mike is, he was a fan of what he saw. He really liked it. He wanted to pitch it to Tom. He wanted to do a couple of things that I disagreed with. One of them being, and I mean, I understand why they wanted to do this, but it is something that I'm not willing to do. They wanted to charge money to access the card creator, which is, that's one of my biggest things with COTG Online is I already bought the cards. I have tubs and tubs of physical cards. I don't want to rebuy them. Some people are okay with that. I am not. I am fine with just entering them myself by hand into the application. I don't want to repay for them. I don't want to pay extra to have to use them in a digital way. So, that was one of our sticking points. But otherwise, they really were fine with it. They were, the idea of it was cool. Mike really liked it. But it didn't go very far because, Phil Singer is Tom. Tom has to make those calls. And Tom is a busy guy. Mike was a busy guy. There was some stuff that happened in the meantime. So things just kind of fizzled out. I avoided releasing it while they were talking about things. But then like 3 or 4 months went by. And I kept telling people like, oh, hopefully I'll have information soon. Um, you know, I hoped that they would talk about it, that something would happen, but nothing ever happened. So eventually I released it on Patreon, and here we are today. And I'm hoping still that, so I sell card sets on the FG Assistant store on Patreon. There's no reason that they can't do the same thing through their store. They could sell card packs for this program if they wanted to. The reason is that they can't make money without the subscription model. The upside is great for fans, but not for the company. You made the right decision. I really do think I made the right decision as far as just putting it out there for the fans to use, not trying to make it official. At this point, I think the official thing is sailed, and I'm good. I'm good with it not being official at this point. But I wouldn't mind trying to figure out a way to integrate Phil Singer stuff into it, even if it's not official, and have them sort of support it officially, even though the program itself is not like a Phil Singer product, if they want to go that route. That's fine. The online store doesn't even have a link to allow you to purchase GWF and LOW digital sets. Um, no, I know. I mean, there's a whole lot of reasons why, I understand their concern with digital stuff. Um, you know, One, it seems like Tom doesn't have much of an interest in digital stuff, whereas Mike and Todd seem to be more open to it, but but a little more weary of it. So, I'm hoping that we can work something out. I don't, like I said, I don't want to make it online only. That was the other thing, is that they wanted to introduce like a phone home sort of situation where it called into like a database on their server and, checked your subscription status and everything. And I was like, that defeats the purpose of having it be offline. So, I really was not for that. Um, but yeah, so I kind of decided that that was not a direction that we wanted to go. And again, I really hope that they consider maybe selling card packs or something for it. You know, I've always approached developing any software that I've ever developed with the idea that you can't avoid piracy. If people like the thing that you're doing, they're less likely to pirate it. If they like what you're doing and you're offering a value and you're creating a community and fostering like the goodwill and something that people want to support, that's the best way to combat piracy. But you're always going to get people who share things or who try to circumvent things, and you can't concern yourself with it. And I think that's one of the biggest issues with the way that Phil Singer looks at digital stuff, based on my talks with them, is that they're always worried about people sharing stuff. And it's like, look, you can't avoid that. Like, you can't avoid people sharing things. It's just not something that can happen. And so, there's just that disconnect there. So that's been my experience with it. Um, Jason PDSI, when I add official cards to the app, I use the photo for COTG Online and enter the stats manually. That's a good way to do it. It will create the backs for you if you enter the stats. So, you no reason not to do it that way. Um, I don't like using the COTG Online stuff for my art, just because I want to avoid any reason that they might have to have a problem with it. But I mean, you paid for it. It's your art. I mean, it's not your art, but you paid for it. It's there in the gallery. I mean, if you want to use it, go for it. I don't use it personally. I scan all my cards with a scanner, but that's just me personally. Balboa asks, can we enter stats and upload photos for our cards manually into your system? Yes, that's like the only way to get cards in there, aside from buying the packs on the FG Assistant store or downloading them from Mod.io. Mod.io only has unofficial cards. I moderate it. It is curated, meaning that if you upload a card, I have to approve it. So, official cards won't get through. But if you want to enter official cards, you have to do it manually. You have to scan your photo and or use a photo that you have. You can take it with your phone, whatever. I don't know. There's lots of ways to get a photo of a card, but you have to do that and then enter it. It does have, if you go here, it does have. Well, I think I've showed this off before. So let's say, okay, so I need to go to my card directory. Let's say I'm going to go to Boots, and I'm going to go into my Fall 2023 bootleg collection. And let's say I'm entering Bruno. Oh, good Lord, what did I do? I entered it. That's a stupid bug that I have never fixed, that I should fix at some point. If you don't let this turn around all the way first, and you go into here, it will cause some issues. But now you can see it's there. It's got this nice little thing. If you're on Windows, this doesn't work on Linux or Mac, but you just center this around the text that you want and hit the camera. It will take a picture of this area and try to figure out what the text is, so that you don't have to manually enter it by hand if you have a scan of the back. So that's kind of nice. So yeah, but that's really the only way to enter cards. Are there any plans for a play-by-play sim of some sort? Nope, absolutely not. I already made an application that handled everything automatically. And the issue that I had with it is that literally to make cards, and I allowed people to make cards in that, but you literally had to learn a scripting language to make cards. And so it was very complicated and a giant pain in the ass. And, it only worked for Windows. And so I don't have any interest in bringing that sort of like complication back to this, where people had to script in how the cards interacted, when certain roles happened. And so no play by play. It's one of those things. I don't even think the play by play works very well on COTG Online. To be fair, I think that mine worked better than theirs, but I'd also rather just have it. I wanted this to replicate the feel of rolling on a table just on your computer, and having everything happen automatically doesn't replicate that to me. And it takes away from the game. Like, you don't really learn the cards and like how they interact, and how whether the card is really good or too strong or whatever, by rolling the play by play stuff where it just does everything automatically. So I think you lose like sort of some of the charm of the game, when you do it that way. So it just doesn't interest me. I know that that's something that a few people really like about COTG Online. It's just not for me. And like I said, I did it once already, and it's super complicated. There's a whole lot of conditions and stuff, and people have to learn how to enter that when they create their cards. And I just don't want that. It would make entering a card really complicated, and so I think we'd see less people using the app. Billy Roberts says it would only help their revenue stream. It doesn't make sense not to do it. I think Grant has actually made that argument to Mike Molesky in a phone call, if I remember right, basically saying like, you're leaving money on the table by not doing this. And he was like, I know. And so again, they're interested. They see value in the application. It's just, they're a business and I'm not. I can just put this out there and hope that you guys support me. They can't. They have to have some sort of guaranteed revenue out of it in order for them to invest time and money and effort into it. Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, it's a hobby that I'm making money on, and that's great. But it's still, at the end of the day, it is just a hobby. Like, if I decided to, I could move on. I don't have to continue to invest time and energy into this. I'm not saying that that's in the cards for now. Like, I enjoy doing this. I want to support it. I want to keep adding stuff to it. That's not what I'm trying to say. But if the day ever came, I could just walk away. I could shut down the Patreon and stop charging everybody and say, like, it's been a great run. Enjoy the program. I'm out. They would have a lot more trouble doing that as a business. And, so, there's a lot more to consider on their end than there is on mine. So, I understand the sort of, that they have a lot more that they need to sort of figure out before they can sort of get into a a deal, or say like, yeah, we're going to support this or not. So, but it is, like I said, it is something that they're aware of, and that at least the people who have seen it are cool with. Chad is actually he's on the testing team. He doesn't do a whole lot of testing, but he's also a supporter on Patreon, and so I know that like people who are on the Phil Singer team like are at least cool with it, and think that there's some value in it, and so hopefully sometime in the future is what I'm saying. Okay. Pops reviews. Hello, Carlzilla and chat. Hope everything is going well. Hope everyone is enjoying their weekend. Thank you. Um, Billy Roberts says this version has more of a tabletop feel to it. It still feels like you are rolling the dice. I agree. Billy he helped me test the other version as well, though the one that was more automated. So his judgment is pretty good on this. The other one was a lot more complicated, and it didn't feel like you were rolling the dice. It felt a little better than the play-by-play thing on COTG Online, but it still was very automated. Balboa says your system looks more modern than COTG Online. Some players have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars or thousands of dollars into the platform. I agree. And I'm not trying to, like, when I talked with Mike, one of the things that I wanted to be very clear with is that I'm not trying to replace COTG Online. I don't want it to be online. It's always going to have the drawback that it is local on your computer, and you will only be able to access it from the computer that you install it on. I was always very clear about that, and I'm not interested in online stuff. I'm not interested in introducing multiplayer or anything like that. That's just not my focus. Like, I wanted it to be sort of like a promotion organizer and virtual tabletop, more so like for the people like me who run their promotions in their head, and we're rolling dice, and it, everything's all in one spot. But I'm not looking to make this to be like, like a replacement for COTG Online, where you're rolling against people and you have multiple people on your table and stuff like that. That's just not my thing, I guess. And I mean, I hope it looks more modern. COTG Online, the interface is pretty bad, and I am not a UI designer by any stretch of the imagination, but I definitely like my design better than theirs. And I'm not trying to shit on their design. It is what it is. But and it was also, I mean, I'm using a modern engine. This is built in Unity. And it's built on a fairly recent or whatever version of Unity. And so it hopefully looks a little more modern. That's been one of the things that I've been, pushing for and trying to get it to do is be a more modern solution for modern computers. This is likely closer to the end than the beginning of the cycle. It'd be good if they offered players. I don't know. I mean, so I'm not gonna pretend like I have any inside sight on this. As far as I know, Mike really wants to get COTG Online up to snuff. I don't know, I don't know anything about like their plans to do that. But when I talked with Mike, like he understood that this was not meant to be a replacement for it, and he really wanted to get COTG Online up to snuff and work on it. And he mentioned that he was working. They're working hard to try to figure out like the best way to do things. But COTG Online is, it's difficult to work with behind the scenes, I guess is the best way to put it. I don't want to give away anything. So they're trying their best, and I don't know what they're gonna do as far as like exit strategy if COTG Online was ever going to be pulled, which I don't think it is. I think that they're fine. Even if it never sees improvements, it serves the purpose that they want it to serve. Does that make sense to everybody? Like it's not without flaws, but it does what they want it to do. And some users are like, oh, it should do more or it should be faster or whatever. And they'll always try to work that in. But for now, it serves its purpose. And I don't see them pulling it offline as long as it serves its purpose, you know? Um, so I honestly don't know. That's my opinion on it. I don't think it's the end. I just think that it may be the end of its update cycle. I mean, there's some stuff that they want to do, but you know, even if it never receives another update, they can still add new cards to it and still sell them, and those cards are going to play fine on the table. And that's, I mean, it does what it does. So Jason PDSI asks if there is a card that isn't in the COTG roster, you can always buy a set of blank cards and create one. It kind of sucks, but not to have the art, but it does the job. Yeah, I mean, you. That's been one of my biggest things with COTG online. Things like the blank cards templates and stuff. I don't like that. Like why I understand why they do it because it's literally just a database. You're the buttons on the interface are they roll a random number and then look something up in a database on the back end. So, I mean, that database requires money to upkeep and to serve. And so, and the more you add to it, the more it's going to cost to upkeep and serve. And so, I understand why they don't allow you to just add things to the database willy nilly, and they try to limit what they can and make money where they can. I get it. Like, again, I'm not shitting on COTG online as much as it's not my thing. And it's the reason that I built this because this is more my thing. When I was like looking at COTG online and I was like, okay, well, this isn't for me, but I like some of the ideas of doing this digitally. How can I make a digital thing that serves the same purpose, but is more what I want? And this is the result of that. Um, they were hoping the multiplayer thing would take off. Balboa says that's true, and it didn't. And I just don't think that people don't play this game competitively. Like it's fun to play like at the conventions when you're doing the tournaments or whatever. Like it's a good time to sit there and screw around as long as Troy is not using the wrong charts and or using different charts than everyone else is using and isn't assuming what you want to do because it's the best thing to do. As long as those two things aren't going on, you know, it's it's fun to play it that way, but it's not fun to play it that way all the time. Most people run their promotion and it's a single player situation. It's just you doing it, you know? And so yeah, I just don't think that that's like a major focus. Like it's not how very many people play this. Like, I know Tom has his thing where he plays with that, what is it, Beekeeper on the forums, and like they have like a little thing going on where like Tom controls some guys and Beekeeper controls some guys, and and that's awesome if that's the way they want to play it. And I've played it with my son, like we used to roll matches on the kitchen table or whatever, but for the most part, like I play by myself. Like I'm doing my own promotion and like I stream it on YouTube when I do it, and this is great for that because obviously it's easy to stream. So I can put it on YouTube and do my thing and it's good. But yeah, it's just me. It's all just me rolling. Uh who is the current programmer for COTG Online? I have no clue. Um I couldn't answer that. Um I know that the guy who is doing it now is he's active. Like I said, I when it's been a while since I talked with Phil Singer, and it was usually Mike who I talked to. But Mike said that he was pretty active in working on it, but there was, it took a long time to do certain things, and it takes even longer to do the things that they want to do because the whole thing was not designed to do some of the things that they want to do now. And so, they're trying to figure it all out. But I know that the guy who is programming on it now is fairly active with it, and is, even though he's not like super outgoing with the community, he's there and he's listening, and they're trying to do things that they can. Balboa says they should hire you. No, I'm not looking. I have a. I help design wrestling video games. I work for Retrosoft, who did Retromania. And so, I have a job. I'm good. I don't really want to work for Phil Singer doing back end stuff. Like, if they wanted to license this, they had that opportunity. It didn't work out. We're good, And I have nothing against them. And like I said, I hope that we can figure something out, support wise for this. Like, I would love that. But yeah, I'm good. I'm doing what I can, and like I said, I've been very transparent. I'm all about transparency. I make enough money doing this that I can justify doing this as a hobby, and so, you know that's that's what it is. Like, the support that the community is given through the Patreon means that I'm okay without them picking it up or whatever. I haven't played competitive with another human being outside of the virtual con since 1990. Yeah, I don't think very many people play this multiplayer. Like, it's not that kind of game. I mean, there's a little bit of agency with the choices and everything, but I mean, mostly it's just dice rolls, so there's not a whole lot of like player agency or strategy. I mean, a little bit, but it's not a crazy amount. So, I mean, you just kind of do. Balboa, Tom seems totally aloof on the whole online product. He only chimes in when people complain for extended periods or drops in to joke and pitch. Yeah. Um, like, I think I talked on this point a little bit before. And it seems like Tom he is an old school player. He sees the value in the tabletop version of his system. And the online stuff is just sort of there. And, that was one of the things that when me and Mike were talking, he was like, I got to pitch it to Tom, and that's where it fizzled out. And I don't know whether Mike ever pitched it to Tom. I'm not trying, I don't know what Tom's reaction would be, or if he has seen it or has a reaction to it. But I get the feeling like he is, like, the digital stuff is just kind of there, and he sees that there's a value in it in the sense that they can monetize some of it, but I don't think he sees it as like like a direction for the future or anything like that. That's the sense I get from it, and that's fine. Like, I mean, it's his thing, and if he doesn't want to take the company in that direction, more power to him. I'm a D&D nerd as well, and I think the giant push to digital D&D instead of books and rolling on the table is bullshit. And I understand, like, there's, for me, for this particular situation, I really like having it digital. It's nice. I don't have to get out my cards. I don't have to roll out a mat and, set everything up. I can just roll it on the computer and it's cool. But I could see that some people are not into that. Like, there are definitely people who have told me, like, oh, I prefer rolling on the table, and that's cool. Like, I'm good with that. Like, everybody's got their own thing. Like, I would never want to play Dungeons and Dragons in a digital friggin', like, thing where you weren't rolling dice and stuff with your friends around a table. I mean, and not that I would never want to do it. I do have an online group and I do play through Discord, and that's fun, but that's not the same thing to me. It just, I don't like the push that they're doing officially to try to make that like the new de facto standard. And I think Tom is the same way with his stuff. he doesn't care for the push. He's not interested in pushing digital stuff to be the same as tabletop. He doesn't see the value in it. He would rather people played at tabletop. That's the way he envisioned the game, and that's the way it should be played in his mind. And that's always the feeling that I got from anytime anybody ever brought up digital stuff and Tom. So, how do you filter your cards? I see women, faces, heels. How do you apply it to individual cards? So, okay, that's a good question. So here we go. Let's add a guy. I'm just gonna pick somebody. We're gonna add Dutch Savage here. So if you already have the filter created, you can go ahead and go here, and you go down to filters. And Dutch Savage, see he's not in any filters. Let's add Dutch Savage to the heel filter. You just go ahead and add him. And now if I go, I only want to see heels. If I click that, it will only show guys who are filtered to heel. I'm going to go ahead and remove that because Dutch Savage has not debuted for me. And usually I only add them when they debut. So we're going to do that. And I'll show you how to create those filters. So you're going to come over here to the groups and filters setting. And all the filter is a hashtag. So you see here we've got like hashtag heels. So if you go up here and you hit hashtag, what filter do we want to add? Hashtag cold dudes. I don't know. We'll do that. We'll add Too Cold Scorpio, and I have Iceman King Parsons, so we'll add. There he is. So Iceman King Parsons and Too Cold Scorpio are now in the Cold Dudes filter. So if I go main menu, or should be saved automatically, by the way. So, oh nope, I gotta hit save group. Okay, so that I've changed this recently, like in the last 2 updates, and I haven't used it much, so I forgot that the save group thing was there. So now that you've saved it, it should save automatically if you make changes. So we've got Cold Dudes now. If we go back into here, back into card management, we flick on our Cold Dudes thing here, and we go all. It will find any Iceman King Parsons or Too Cold Scorpio cards. And that's really all it is. It's just a hashtag in front of the name. And then you add guys to it like you would any other thing. Oh no, okay, well, we'll let this load. But yeah, that's how that works. I feel like the game would be refreshed with new official charts. Yeah, I think that the what is it, the Ringside Companion 2 Volume 2 will fix that for you, Pops. I know that there have been at least 3 or 4 different iterations of the charts, and they'll be in there. And I think you'll be able to find one that suits your needs, especially if you mix it with the vintage charts for really old matches. You're good to go. If the activity level on the official message board is any indication of sales, it seems like the product lines as a whole are in demographic decline, may not survive the first generation of players. I don't know. Like, honestly, they've been around since 1989. There are a whole bunch of people are big whiny bitches on the board. Like, I'm not gonna bite my tongue anymore about this shit. Like, there's a whole bunch of people, there's a whole bunch of original COTG players who are fucking upset that, Legends is getting more attention or Indies is getting more attention. And it's like, who gives a shit? Just play your goddamn game. And there are Legends players who are mad, who get mad that people suggest certain guys or, and it's just like, I don't understand. Just do your thing and enjoy what's there and enjoy what's out there and who cares? Like, I'm not mad that we're only getting a 4-pack in January, in quarter 1 or whatever, or that we may not get something in quarter 3 or cycle 3 or whatever, as a Legends player. Like, I will admit, I only play Legends. That's just what interests me. But there are people, like, if that happened for COTG or whatever, like it did the other year, there are people who whine about it endlessly. Oh, they only care about this or they only care about that. Shut the fuck up. Grow up. You're an adult ass human being. Stop bitching. Just you play with what you got. You know, um, Explore an alternate universe if you really need new content. Do something. But don't get on the board and bitch. All it does is create negativity. Like, and I'm not saying, like, okay, I get some of the negativity that happened because they didn't communicate with players the last time. I get that. That's valid. Like, I'm not shitting on that. But there are people who just complain about everything all the time when it isn't something that suits them. And that shit is annoying. So I wouldn't, and I think that's run people off from the boards. The Facebook group is pretty active. Grant's Discord sees people talking in it pretty much daily. You know, yeah, I talk on Facebook to people about the game pretty much daily. I don't think that it's in decline. I just think that there are people who have taken their negativity and their douchebaggery and run people away from the official forums by being bitches about it. And I mean, there, yeah, that's what I think about that. So anyway, you did disagree if you want. I don't know. I mean, that's just my take. Jason PDSI says the Carlzilla shoot interview is happening now. Yeah, no, I will. I'm not. I feel like honesty is important, and so again, like, I'm honest about the way that I feel about certain things, and if you don't like it, that's cool. Like, I'm not trying to, you know, you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to respect my opinion. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm gonna continue to do what I've always done, which is roll Legends matches, and I will enjoy my application, and I will enjoy the new Legends sets when they come out, and I am not gonna sit here and you know be super negative about, like, what's going on in the community. I don't think that Phil Singer, like, okay, so I like Barry, but Barry can be a little bit of a yes man for Phil Singer, and I don't think that that's healthy. And then I think that guys like Kevin Butcher, who are just complaining about everything on the official boards, are just as negative. Like, if you want, like, there's a healthy medium. Like, you can criticize some of the things that they do or decide as a fan, as somebody who puts money into it. You don't have to agree with everything that they do. You don't have to be apologetic for the mistakes that they make. But at the same time, you don't have to sit there and tear down the community every time they want to do or focus on something else, or the line that you choose as your main thing gets less attention than you would like, that sort of thing. Like, that's not healthy or good for anyone. So you just, try to find that medium and live in it, and that's hopefully what I'm doing. Like, I'm voicing my opinion, but I honestly just want everybody to enjoy the games that they enjoy and find ways to play them in so that they're entertained, and just to stop endlessly whining on, in places where they're whining. And that's my opinion. Chronic malcontentedness is the lifeblood of any fandom, Carl. Uh, yeah, no, it's true. Um, I and that's not healthy. And that's one of the biggest reasons that I don't post on the main boards as often anymore, because it's like, every time somebody wants to talk about something, like, there are threads over there that are great, but a lot of them are just people complaining about things, and I don't want to read people complain about things all the time. You know, um, you know, I'd rather talk about, like, what are the house, like, that's, what is it, shop talk. That thread is fantastic. We talk about house rules. We talk about mechanics, all that kind of thing. Like, you know, I'd rather talk about that stuff than speculate on the next legend or like I mean, we all have fun with that, but I feel like there's people who put too much stock into it. Like we get as we get closer and things like start to become more like, okay, well, this is what the set is going to be about. Like, there are people who will like, you'll be like, okay, well, it'd be cool if this guy was involved, and then they'll jump in and they'll be like, oh, no, no way will that guy be involved, he would be held for this set and blah blah blah. And it's just like, who cares? It's speculation, man. Like, there is no right or wrong here. Like, why do you got to be so aggressive about it? Anyway, so yeah, I don't go to the official forums as often anymore, just because that tends to be the attitude there. So I stick with the Facebook group, which is friendly as shit. I love the Facebook group. I love the people on the Facebook group. They send me, I get private messages from them a lot of the times. We talk about stuff. I think that the Facebook group is really good. I also think Grant's Discord is really good. We share results. We talk about stuff in there. So those tend to be where I talk about Filsinger these days, just because, the official forums just got too negative and too, um, just kind of bitchy. And they refuse to do very much about it, unfortunately. I don't know why they don't want to moderate it a little better. But they don't. So, if that's what they want or that's what they're cool with, then that's fine. But I'll find other places to talk. Anywho, so that seems to be an end of things, as people have stopped talking in the chat, which is fine. But if you guys are done with your questions, life draining negativity, Pop says, yeah, that's kind of what it is. And I don't want to be a part of it. I'd rather just, like I've always said, I'm just going to do my thing. Like I have always been in this community. I've always just kind of done my thing, and if it fits in, then it fits in, and if it doesn't, I'm just going to keep doing it anyway, because that's what I'm having fun doing. So that's what I want to do, and that's what I encourage everybody else to do. So, but if that's everything, I am going to let y'all go now. This went way longer than I expected it to. So I hope you all had a good one. And if you have any more questions, save them for next month. I'm going to start trying to do this every month on the Sunday after the update. So that'll be like sort of the idea, is that I'll be here to talk about things, for like the Sunday after an update. And you can ask questions about the new update. You can ask questions about whatever, and I'm good. Gordon Smack says, how do you convert PDFs to pings? It's in the video. You're gonna have to scrub back until you see a Photoshop thing, and it starts there. So like I show you how to do it with a Photoshop action. It'll work in GIMP as well, but I don't use GIMP, so you'll have to figure out how to make the action in GIMP. So anyway, that's it for me. You guys have a good one, and